Welcome back to Live at 9. It's hurricane season, so we got to bring in an expert to talk about it. So they say it's going to be maybe a big season. You know, how do they predict stuff like that?
Well, NOAA is going to predict that by looking at a lot of different forecasts and trying to figure it out. And it's going to be a busy season from what they're saying. Maybe 4 to 7 predicted major hurricanes. Now, they may not all go to Mississippi. They may not all even go into the Gulf Coast. But as we've seen with storms in the past, it only takes that one storm to completely wreck a community or a state. So we just want people to be prepared for that. You know,
it's really interesting, and for me, you hear about this stuff about preparing for it every single year, and yet people aren't. And I don't want to single anyone out, but it seems like, how many more times can we tell you, be prepared? So we're going to do it one more time.
Right. And it's just one of those things that until you've lived through it, you might not get it. You know, how many storms have we seen that people aren't prepared for just because they've never experienced it? But it's always better to be prepared than to find yourself with nothing. So like a disaster kit, it's just simple things that you can do at home to make sure that you're prepared if you're in the middle of a storm. Packing up some non-perishable foods, a first aid kit. If you have children or pets at home, make sure that you have food for them and diapers for them. Just simple things that you can do to make sure you're in a good place if you are impacted by a storm.
No, that's really important what you said. You know, you could be alive for 45 years, never have an issue, but all of a sudden today was the issue and you weren't prepared, and now not only you but your family can have an issue just because you weren't prepared. All right, some obvious things we got up here. First aid kit, that seems very obvious, but what are some of the other stuff that we have that you should have in your disaster kit?
Yeah, so like we said, diapers and wipes. If you have children at home, that's very important. You don't want to run out of those things. We put a pet toy up here just to make sure you don't forget your pet. Put some extra dog food in there if you want to. We have an activity book in here for kids. You can pack some crayons. If we don't have power, they're going to be bored. They're going to need something to do. Peanut butter is a great source of protein. Have that, some protein bars. Just non-perishable food. A lot of the times when we have storms, people will pack up on things that are perishable, that'll be gone in a few days, and if you don't have power, you don't have a way to store it. Not the smartest thing to do. You want to make sure you have something that can last you for a few days. Now, at MEMA, we say the first 72 is on you. That is basically just saying be prepared for at least 72 hours after a storm for help to get to you. And that's just because the state may take that long to get the resources to you. It may take that long to get help to you. So just that's a good rule of thumb, 72 on you.
Yeah, that's really interesting because after the Rolling Fork tornado, I went there right that night, that the incident happened. And yeah, it took a couple days for Salvation Army to come up and finally have stuff regularly for people. So 72 hours, it's on you. Yeah. All right, we got about 30 seconds left. Portable chargers now a big thing?
Absolutely, and if you want to have gas for your car, because if we have a hurricane or something like that, you're going to have an influx of people from the coast if there's an evacuation coming to our gas stations and filling up. So that's another thing that you might want to have on hand.
Yeah, and people travel through our area a lot when hurricanes happen. Absolutely. Even when Katrina happened, you thought about all the people that came up this way, even though it hit over here. Yeah. It still had like a bunch of people that had to go through and stay around this area. So just know, fill up a week early, maybe not the day before, because the gas might all be gone. All right, our question of the day, did you see it?
I did.
Okay, so what would be your answer?
Well,
is this a bad one to ask guests?
Well, I'm a little biased because mine was very public. So
what did you do? Because we got about 10 seconds. Real quick.
It was on a television show, so it was very public. So I think there's something special about somebody screaming it from the rooftop.
There you go. All right, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Be prepared.